As we get ready to finish reading The Wife of Bath's Tale, you're going to need some background about this debate that was going on in the Middle Ages about what makes someone a gentleman. So, first of all, what does it mean to be gentle? Today, the word means kind, not severe or rough, mild, tame, calm. So, like you can see in these pictures down here, we use it to mean be kind, be um, be careful, be calm with yourself. You might say gentle weather, or someone has a gentle touch, meaning that they're careful and they're kind. And then if something is fragile, we treat it gently, we hold it gently. And so that is our connotation of the word gentle. But then what is a gentleman? You might be familiar with this term when announcers say, ladies and gentlemen. And so you might just think, well, maybe it means adults. Adults, men are called gentlemen. You might think of someone well dressed, like these gentlemen in the picture. But if you think back to being a lady and being a gentleman, it has to do with that social pyramid that we talked about when we first started reading Chaucer. And so in his day, the word gentleman actually referred to someone from the upper class, just like lady did. Lords and ladies were equivalent. The lord was the male and the lady was the female. So it was like a title that meant that you were socially important, that you were of higher social status. And this class was inherited. So if your father was a gentleman, then you were a gentleman. And it was passed down in that way, like a title, like being a duke or an earl. However, this began to be disputed. And so some argued that those in the upper class were inherently better than the lower classes. Some would argue that God had blessed them and put them in that place because they were better. Some would argue that because they dressed better and had more money and therefore had more education and spoke better, that they were inherently then better at a level of worth or a level of behavior than the lower classes. But others then argued, and the church was one place that this argument came from, was that whether or not you were gentle or good or moral came from your good works. Were you kind? Were you generous? Were you honest? Did you treat people well? And that is what makes you a true gentleman. That the title cannot be passed down because it has to do with the way you behave, not with who your father was. And so we might use the term gentleman in this way to, like, I know when my son was little, I would say, act like a gentleman. And it meant be polite, be kind, be courteous. And so we use it now to refer more to behavior than to social class. But in the Middle Ages, it came from social class and then began to be applied to behavior. So this social debate comes up and is a central part of The Wife of Bath's Tale. Already, you have seen that the story features a knight who is by birth a gentleman, a member of the upper class. But from the moment we meet him, his actions are clearly not gentle. He forcibly rapes a woman. He is not kind to, well, you'll find that out in a minute. No spoilers. But he is not acting like a gentleman, even though he was born into the gentlemanly class. Then you have the upper class ladies who defend him and want to save his life, not because of his actions, but because of his birth, because he is a knight and he's in the upper class. Then, however, you have a low-born woman, and we've only just met her before we get to the end of this story. You have a low-born woman who is old, who saves the knight's life by knowing the answer to the riddle. And so she shows great kindness to this man, and she shows that she has knowledge that saves his life. And so there's this conflict here where the social class is not matching the behavior. And so, what then is true gentility? In the second half of the story, the old woman is going to deliver a speech about this very thing, about being gentle by birth or true gentility by behavior. And so you'll just have to read the story to find out which one you think Chaucer is arguing for.